come from stealing. I also have 2 goals I set for myself that I need to complete. First, I need to get 10 rebirths. And second, I need to steal a secret. With that out of the way, let's get into this video. I joined a public server and went looking for my first victim, eventually finding this girl with a bombini Gassini. She and her friend came up to me and started trying to hit me, and I was breaking ankles, but eventually her friend hit me halfway to my base. And after failing to steal this Flora, I tried infiltrating the base and stalled until it opened, but ultimately failed again. So I reset, and right next to me was a wide open base with a free Noobini Pizzanini, so I stole it. I then failed a few times trying to steal some mythics, but then on the 4th attempt, I finally stole the Gassini the girl had. After collecting some money, I found another wide open base with a Boneca that I would need for rebirth later, so I quickly stole that. When my base unlocked, Lil Girl tried to steal her bombini back, but that was not gonna happen today. And oh boy, there was another open base, so I stole the Flora. I then found this wide open base with 2 insane brainrot gods, and halfway through stealing the Giraffe, my dumb went for the Trollolero, and I ended up being 1 step too late. By now I had enough money to rebirth, so I started going for the brainrots I needed, such as the Tung Sahur. Although he locked his base before I could get out. After failing a few times, I found this open base with a Tung that no one was even guarding, so I easily got it. Right after that, I found another open base in which I battered the owner, stalling enough time for me to grab one of his brainrots and juke this random out. I set my sights on another open base, this time for a trippy toppy, and after juking the victim several times, I unfortunately got hit. However, I immediately got back up and stole this Lionel Cactuselli from another open base. And then the victim even chased me into my base, so I ended up accidentally trapping her. But this allowed me to steal another cappuccino from her. Stealing a trippy troppy for the first rebirth was the bane of my existence. I swear no matter how hard I tried, I could not steal one. And then Holy Stack person joined, but after failing a few times to steal from him, he left, and so did I in order to join another server. I set my sights on this trippy troppy after getting locked out. On the first attempt, I was 1 step too late, but I quickly hid behind a brainrot and sneakily made my way over to the trippy troppy in preparation for when the base opened. I stalled until the base timer hit 4 seconds, and when it did, I did a perfect execution back to my base. I hopped in my PS cause now I could rebirth, and I transferred the 2 brainrots I would need later, which was the bombini and Boneca I had. I transferred the 2 brainrots back to keep in my inventory and make some money while I was out stealing. With Rebirth 2, I unlocked some new gadgets, including the gravity coil and B-launcher, so I selected auto buy on those. Wide open base with a free Lionel Cactuselli. Then I caught a kid with his Johnson out, which means he was lagging, and so I stole his ballerina. I hopped servers, and to my right was a wide open base that contained a Cocofonto, marking my first brainrot god. I needed 3 million for my next rebirth, and I already had most of that, so I went in my private server until I had enough, and then transferred everything valuable over to my alt account. I joined this server and immediately saw a gold Tay Sahur, so I beat confuzzled him and pulled off a smooth heist. I went in my PS and transferred that. Next victim held in hand a Lava Gassini, and I was unfortunately too late on the first attempt, but obviously CC2 does not fail twice, and so I made sure to make another kid's day worse. Gooner made 30k a second, which is by far my toughest brainrot. There was a gold Lavaca, and somehow this other kid got it while the victim left, and to repent my sins from last video, I let Lil Bro have it. I juked this Crocodile on the road, and I got blessed with this open base containing a Crocodile. This whole time I was trying to get a BRBR Patapim, but I finally got one. This meant I could do my second rebirth cause I already stole a Boneca earlier. But anyways, I transferred everything valuable, which was only my Crocodilo, and hit the rebirth button. I transferred my Lava Gassini back to make some money, and since I had rebirth 2 now, I made sure to auto buy the coil combo. I bought a rage table to test it out later, and proceeded to transfer everything else that was valuable back for money. I went AFK until I had the required 12.5 meters to rebirth, and finally transferred everything back. I set my sights on another stacked base, this time for a secret. I waited until the door unlocked, and I actually made it out with the secret. Now all that was left was getting back to my base. So I started making a run for it, when I saw another person emerge from the same base with a TP taco. Suddenly the victim popped out and Medusa headed the other perpetrator, which meant that I was next. But Holy Goat, the other perpetrator, immediately Medusa headed back, making sure I had enough time to steal it and leave the game. This Kirker was a money machine, and I am not finna get caught with this, so I transferred it while I continued to search for the brainrots I needed to rebirth. Before I got any of the 2 I actually needed, I ended up getting this orangutan I would need later. I found another victim, this time a toucan, and so I used my rage table to send him flying, paving a smooth and easy path back to my base. This toucan made 100k a second, so I made sure to transfer it. After failing to steal this bananini and getting my head slid across the floor, I easily stole this glorbo that I would need for a later rebirth. I then set my sights on this cadabra that I would need for a later rebirth as well, and easily stole it. I peeked out on my base and saw a base with a bananini open, so I hurried my way over and quickly stole it. That's 1 out of 2 I need. I was also looking for a Frigo Camelo I would need for rebirth later, so I found and stole one. I tried again, but it was too late by now. I let lil bro steal a lava cocothonto and he wouldn't even let me get away with a cat. I found wide open base with the frigo that I needed, so I made sure to redeem myself by stealing this. My base was getting a little full, so I transferred everything I stole to make sure they wouldn't get stolen. Except Bananini cuss, I need that for rebirth. I found this 800 ka second orca and I was actually so close to getting it, like I even juked victim once, but ultimately failed. I found this random mythic and this was light work. I be confused plus rage table comboed this kid and finally stole a cat from a base all the way across the map. This allowed me to immediately rebirth. I went in my PS, and since I literally have almost stolen every other thing I need to get to rebirth 10, all I needed to do was transfer this Kirker back and forth and wait for it to generate me money. And lastly, transfer the brainrots I need for the rebirth I'm on. I transferred the Kirker to my alt and repeated the same process all the way until rebirth 9.